Assalamu alaikum, dears, how are you? All of us want to lead an honorable and a stress free life, and it should be our aim as well. We should be committed to it as well. That yes, I want to lead an honorable and a stress free life. So, dear friends and fellows, is it possible? Indeed, it is possible. And that is what we have made a topic of our discussion today. Let's begin it because it is a very important topic with a very good content available today. So, my dear friend, how can we lead an honorable life? There are certain things to be practiced on daily basis, and I'm going to talk about only the five of these, which are highly relevant, pertinent, highly effective. First of all, it is integrity. Integrity means align align your actions with values and principles. Aligning my actions with the values and with the principles. Aligning actions with the values and with the principles. That is something number one. And number two, it is, my, if at all I am doing the thing which does not align with my principles, does not align with the values, I think that will create something very bad indeed. So that is why it is so important. Align actions with the values and the principles. Number two, it is authenticity. Authenticity means be genuine, be transparent, and be true to yourself. So that is the second principle of living an honorable life. The third is accountability. What is this accountability? Take responsibility for your action and for your decisions as well. Taking responsibility for your action and taking responsibility for your decision. If something has gone wrong, if at all it is not as good as it should have been, do not try to avoid the responsibility, rather accept the responsibility. The fourth principle for living an honorable life, it is the respect. Treat others with dignity and with compassion. Treating others with the dignity, treating others with the compassion. The fifth and the last principle of living an honorable life, it is empathy. How can we practice the empathy here? Understand and appreciate the diverse perspective. If at all somebody is having a different opinion, they have a different perspective, do not, let it go unappreciated. Do try to understand it and try to appreciate the diverse perspective. So these are the five principles of living an honorable life. Now moving to the next segment, there are another five principles for living a stress-free life. What are these principles? Number one, it is the mindfulness. Mindfulness. Focus on the present moment. All of us have a past, and there are plenty of things which should be regretted upon, and there are plenty of things or certain things which we want to come back in our life, but we don't have to live in our past at all. Learn whatever can be learned from the past, and then each one of us have a future. Learning whatever we can, then let it go. Let it go. Do not dwell in the past at all. All of us have a future as well. But don't keep worrying about the future. Rather plan it. Rather prepare a little bit. Then let it go as well. Focus on the focus on the present moment. So that is the principle number one. As for the five top principles of living a stress-free life is concerned, the second is the self-care. How can we practice the self-care? Prioritize physical, emotional, and mental well-being. This should be the top priority. For me, my physical, my emotional, and mental well-being must be the top priority. The third principle of living a stress-free life, it is boundaries. Set boundaries. Set realistic limits with others. Setting realistic limits with others. Nobody has got a limitless access to us? Nobody, because everybody have certain limit. We must set the limit. We must set the boundaries, and not only we need to set, rather we need to enforce it as well. Enforcing the boundaries, that is also equally very important. So dear friends and fellows, now the fourth is gratitude. Gratitude means cultivate appreciation for life's blessing. Cultivate appreciation for the life's blessing. All of us have been gifted and given with so many of the good things, but we are seen taking it for granted. We are ignoring it. Maybe we want new and bigger things to happen to us so that we could become grateful. While that is totally and absolutely wrong. If at all we want to stay happy, if at all we want to live a stress free life, so we have to be grateful for no matter how small a blessing of Allah is. We need to be grateful. We need to be grateful to our parents who have rendered innumerable services to us and innumerable sacrifices to us. We need to be grateful to any individual who have done even a smaller contribution in our life. We need to be grateful to those people. So the fourth principle are living a stress-free life. It is the gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. The fifth principle for living a stress free life, it is simplicity, simplicity, and simplicity. Embrace minimalism and clarity. Minimalism on the one hand, clarity on the other hand. Simplify your life as much as it is possible. So, that is the fifth principle of living a stress free life. Earlier, we talked about living an honorable life and the five top principles for living an honorable life. Then we talked about then we talked about living a stress-free life and what are the five top principles of living a stress-free life. So, dear friends and fellows, now there are certain other interconnected habits. These are also very important and very important indeed. These are just five in number. The first one, it is the meditation and the reflection. Meditate for the purpose of gaining peaceful, living peaceful, and reflection so that we could look back what was done right in a rightful manner so that we could continue it, what was not done in a rightful manner so that we could avoid it. So the first is meditation and reflection. The second is healthy habits. What are these healthy habits? It is meant for the purpose of health, like sleeping 7 to 8 hours of every night. Then it is the nutrition, providing ourselves with the needed nutrition, and then of course it is the exercise. So these are the basic principles of healthy habits. Now the third interconnected habit, it is the meaningful relationships. So dear friends and fellows, meaningful relationships. The fourth is purposeful work and purposeful hobbies. Purposeful work and purposeful hobbies as well. The fifth is continuous learning and growth. Because we cannot grow unless and until we keep learning. So the fifth principle of interconnected habits, that is continuous learning and growth. We talked about the five top principles of living an honorable life, another top five principles of living a stress free life. Then we talked about the interconnected habits. So these are also five in number. Now we are going to talk about the inspirational quotes. These are only two. The first one is the best way to find inner peace is to furnish your soul. The best way to find inner peace is to furnish your soul with love, with compassion, and with integrity. Now, the second inspirational quote is stress is not what happens to us, but how we react to it. Stress is not what happens to us, but how we react to it. Excuse me. There are five additional tips which are very important. Actionable tips. Five actionable tips. Number one, it is practice self compassion and progress. Forgiveness. Practice self compassion and practice self forgiveness. Self compassion. Something has gone wrong. Do not criticize yourself very harshly. Rather, practice self compassion here. Also, practice self forgiveness. This, because if at all we harshly keep criticizing us, I think we are damaging a lot. I don't mean that we shouldn't learn. Actually, we need to learn whatever can be learned. Learning is very important, very important. But after that, we need to let it go. We need to forgive ourselves. We need to practice the self compassion. The second actionable tip is set realistic goals and priorities. All of us need to set goals. The goal should be very clear. The goal should be very realistic one, very pragmatic one, very reasonable one, very attainable and achievable one. That is how we will become a happy person. Set realistic goals and priorities. The third is cultivate a growth mindset. What is this growth mindset? The growth mindset says that if at all there are hurdles, obstacles, some of the people they don't want to develop, they are creating difficulties for you here and there. So don't mind it at all. That is for the purpose of learning and it can further grow you. It will help you a lot in growing yourself further. So that this is set realistic goals and priorities, cultivate a growth mindset. The fourth is engage in activities that bring joy and fulfillment. Engaging in activities that bring joy and fulfillment. Engaging in activities that bring joy, that bring fulfillment. And the now the fifth and the last actionable tip is that seek support from loved ones, from the mentor, from the from the professional. Seeking support every time we are in need of this, from the loved one, from the coach, from the mentor, and of course from the professional. Remember, living an honorable and stress free life, it is a journey, not a destination at all. I think today's discussion was highly beneficial because we talked about how to live a stress free life, how to live an honorable life. We presented the top five principles for living an honorable life, another top five principles for living a stress free life. Then we talked about the interconnected habit, and then we finally we talked about certain actionable tips as well. All of that was highly beneficial indeed. I think there is a lot to learn for me, for you, for each one of us out of our today's discussion. And these things are actually worth remembering, worth practicing, worth taking, bringing, consolidating in our life. That's all from me at the moment.